Hello all, and welcome to Stingray Tom's Florida and another dip into the archives. Today I'll be looking at a collection of 5 towns, all rather small in population, that are located within one of the largest metropolitan areas in the U.S. I thought it'd be useful to look at them because the area is currently in the news due to the tragic story of the partial collapse of the Champlain Towers South, a 12-story condominium building located in the town of Surfside. It's clear that the relationship between the city of Miami, Miami Beach, and the 4 other municipalities isn't generally understood. There are a series of islands that run along the Atlantic coast of Florida from the very northern part, Amelia Island, down to the southern end of the state in Miami-Dade County, Key Biscayne. Of course, the islands continue with the Florida Keys, ending in the Dry Tortugas nearly 200 miles or 320 kilometers from Miami. Many of these islands along the coast are called barrier islands, and they are a type of dune system that has formed and reformed just off the coast of the mainland for thousands and thousands of years. For the most part in Miami-Dade County, the barrier islands have been heavily developed. They have been modified in size and shape and almost completely covered by homes and hotels, parking lots, golf courses, and roads. Additional islands have been created as well, all in order to create places for people to live, work, and play. They comprise one of the most popular tourist attractions in the state. With the exception of Haulover Inlet and Park, the entire line of barrier islands from the county's northern border with Broward County, south to South Point, is a bustling urban area. Running approximately 16 miles or 26 kilometers north to south, most people simply consider this thin stretch of land to be Miami Beach. Certainly a large portion of it is the city of Miami Beach, which, by the way, is distinct from the city of Miami, just in case you weren't sure. But there are 4 other communities, each with their own interesting histories, that fit into the jigsaw puzzle that is coastal Miami-Dade County. 5 incorporated municipalities, 2 towns, 2 cities, and a village, though in Florida those titles don't hold any separate legal distinction. They are, in order of north to south, Golden Beach, Sunny Isles Beach, Bal Harbor, Surfside, and Miami Beach. Each is bounded on the east by the Atlantic and on the west by the Intercoastal Waterway. Let's take a look at each one's history. Golden Beach is likely the most different of the 5. It's considered quite upscale in an area that would be thought of as upscale in and of itself. While it's highly developed, as are the rest, its form of development is markedly different. Considering itself a town, Golden Beach has a 2021 estimated population of 933. It's the smallest community in both population and size. It's about 1 mile or 1.6 kilometers north to south and totals about 4/10 of a square mile or 1 square kilometer, though the town's website states it's 1.8 square miles or 4.7 square kilometers. I'm not sure why they say that, as it's obvious from measurements on any map that it's closer to 1/4 that size. It's one of the few locations along Florida's Gold Coast, the Atlantic Shore in Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade counties, that lacks any high-rise condominium or hotel towers. One has to head north to Martin County to get to the next barrier island so developed. Golden Beach is entirely single-family residential homes, and the residents visit neighboring communities for shopping, schools, and nearly everything else. In fact, high-rise buildings and commercial activity are prohibited by town charter. The main road is the famous A1A, known as Ocean Boulevard in Golden Beach. Interestingly, there are 3 oval human-made islands on the intercoastal side that each contain 25 to 30 luxury homes. Golden Beach was founded in 1924 and incorporated in 1929. As such, it was one of the earlier developments on Miami's barrier islands. Nearly a century ago, brothers R.W. and Henry G. Ralston surveyed the barrier island and decided to create the town of Golden Beach. They moved in and removed the mangrove stands and added fill dirt and sand to make an artificial sculpted island that would support luxury homes. Their laborers struggled to create Golden Beach's iconic three-island silhouette. The Ralston brothers chose to give the newly developed streets Italian names, as they were going for an Italian Venetian feel with canals. At first, the three islands were known as Avellino, Riviera, and Terranova. Today, they're less romantically known as North, Center, and South. The town was divided up into lots that were initially priced between $2,000 and $7,500, with the highest value for oceanfront property. The 1929 values would be approximately $30,000 to $114,000 in 2021 dollars. Those prices are fairly reasonable, considering that a quick check of homes in Golden Beach that are currently for sale shows listings for $3 to $20 million. Immediately to the south of Golden Beach is the city of Sunny Isles Beach. It's about 4 times as large as Golden Beach, with an area of about 1.8 square miles or 4.7 square kilometers. The 2021 estimated population is nearly 22,000 residents. The lack of towers lining A1A and Golden Beach is made all the more noticeable by those in Sunny Isles, starting immediately south of the city's border. Sunny Isles is considered to have the 14th tallest skyline in the U.S., with nearly every acre of oceanfront property sporting a tower. As a city, Sunny Isles is the youngest, having only been incorporated in 1997, though its development goes back about 100 years, basically the same time as its neighboring towns. It was part of the massive Florida land boom of the 1920s. Investor Harvey Baker Graves purchased a 2¼ square mile or 6 square kilometer tract of land for development as a tourist resort. He named it Sunny Isles, and by 1925 the area was cleared of mangroves, canals were channeled, and the barrier island was reshaped to make it possible for construction. Generally the same story as that of Golden Beach. Development continued, and in 1936 Curtis Frodert bought Sunny Isles. For most of its history, the area that was known as North Miami Beach had 1- and 2-story motels along A1A and the beachfront. In the 1950s and 60s, Florida's golden age of tourism, the area was popularly known as Motel Row, and it featured many exotically themed motels. When the community was incorporated in 1997, it was renamed Sunny Isles Beach, and this is when the new city began a major redevelopment. Most of the early hotels were removed and replaced by high-rise condominiums and hotels. The tallest buildings are located on the east side of Collins Avenue, the city's name for A1A. Until recently, Sunny Isles' tallest buildings reached up to 649 feet or 198 meters, since the Federal Aviation Authority had decided that anything taller would cause an issue with the nearby Miami-Opa-locka Executive Airport. However, recently plans for 3 towers that will surpass 643 feet have been approved by the FAA and are under construction. The tallest is projected to reach 743 feet or 226 meters. When completed, it may end up being the 4th tallest building in Florida. As of 2021, there are a total of 18 towers that are at least 449 feet or 137 meters tall, with at least 3 others under construction. Bal Harbor is the next community when heading south, but before you get there, you enter the 177-acre or 72-hectare Hallover Park, operated by the county's Parks Department. The park includes a boat launch, marina, skater park, and Hallover Inlet, and the largest nudist beach in the U.S. Hallover Inlet was created in 1925, separating the 2 halves of the barrier island. Officially considered a village, Bal Harbor has an estimated population of 2,900 residents. Incorporated in 1946, the village's area measured a little less than 2/3 of a square mile or 1 2/3 square kilometers, though only a little over half of that area is land. The area immediately south of Haulover Inlet began to be developed in the 1920s with the name Bal Harbour. Someone realized that it might be better to focus on the ocean and not the inland waterway, and so it was renamed Bal Harbour. As the village's website explains, the B from Bay was retained, and the AL from Atlantic added. Arguably, this is one of the least exciting naming decisions in Florida history, though to be honest, Northport is close. Note that Northport was originally North Port Charlotte, but residents voted to remove Charlotte in 1974 in order to better promote the city as a separate identity. But I digress. Wealthy investors, including Carl Fisher, Walter Briggs, and Robert Graham, started to develop the land that was originally purchased in 1929 by a Detroit, Michigan-based real estate company named Miami Beach Heights. Harlan, Bartholomew, and Associates, which developed comprehensive plans for cities including St. Louis, Memphis, Wichita, Chattanooga, Vancouver, and San Antonio, was contracted to design the village. Due to World War II, the plans were postponed and the land was used as a U.S. Air Corps training center and German prisoner of war camp. After the war, the barracks were converted into apartments, and Robert Graham moved forward with incorporating the development even though there wasn't anyone living there. At the time, the state required that a minimum of 25 male registered voters reside in an area before it could be incorporated. So Graham had 25 families, moved into the former barracks, hired a charter to be written, and in August 1946 joined the 25 male registered voters in incorporating Bal Harbour Village. The first village hall was also located in one of the Air Corps buildings. In the 1950s and 60s, the village developed rapidly with many hotels and apartments being built on either side of A1A. Yet again, massive changes were made to the natural island to make it habitable for modern Americans. Bal Harbour took its place next to the other of Miami's 4 coastal communities. Not only was the area popular with wealthy and not-so-wealthy Americans, top names in the music, film, and newly emerging television industries had also discovered the charms of South Florida. Surfside is the next community we can visit. Bordering both Bal Harbour and Miami Beach, it is roughly wedge-shaped with a width of about 2,500 feet or 760 meters at the north end and 4,000 feet or 1,220 meters at the south. It has a little over a mile or 1.6 kilometers of Atlantic coastline. This gives Surfside about half a square mile or 1.3 square kilometers of land. On that currently lives about 5,600 residents. The town was incorporated in 1935 with the signatures of 35 members of the Surf Club. Today, the Surf Club is the Four Seasons Hotel, and it's still a fixture of the town. Prior to 1935, the area was already being developed, though it didn't seem to get the attention the other communities got in the early 1920s. A safe year for the beginning of Surfside's story is 1930. Ironically, it got its start after the beginning of the Great Depression, but it's not surprising. It was begun by some of the wealthiest Miamians, so it didn't seem to be that important. A consortium comprised of wealthy visitors invested $300,000 to purchase 900 feet of Atlantic Ocean front, starting at 90th Street and heading north. There they built the Surf Club. It was designed by Russell Pancoast of Miami Beach. Pancoast was also the master plan architect for the city of Plantation and the co-architect of the Plantation Country Club. The Surf Club quickly became a fixture of the Miami elite as well as visitors from Hollywood and New York. In 1935, Miami Beach showed interest in expanding its borders northward, incorporating the land on which the Surf Club stood. Its members chose to petition the state and incorporate independently. At the time of incorporation, there were only about 50 residents in the small area, and little of the new town had been developed. Any significant development would continue to wait, this time due to World War II. With both the Great Depression and the war put behind them, Surfside residents set out a plan created by the local property developers, the Tatum brothers, Bethel and Johnson. They created a business district on Harding Avenue west of A1A, still known as Collins Avenue, with residential development focused on the area south of 95th Street and west of Harding Avenue. For much of its existence, A1A contained mostly small apartments, hotels, and motels. Today there are taller buildings, but nothing like the towers in Sunny Isles Beach. Unfortunately, Surfside was the site of the tragic building collapse of the Champlain Tower South in June 2021. Finally, we arrive at Miami Beach, the largest, most populous, and oldest of the seaside communities. An estimated 89,000 residents live in about 19 square miles or 49 square kilometers on some 20 islands. The city was founded in 1915, the earliest of all 5 oceanfront communities. Indeed, it was incorporated only 19 years after the city of Miami. The first structure on the sandy spit of land which would become Miami Beach was the Biscayne House of Refuge, a U.S. life-saving service building that was designed to assist shipwrecked sailors. For more information on the life-saving service, check out my video that includes information on the last remaining house of refuge near Stewart on Hutchinson Island. The first important developer was John Collins and his family. Initially focused on agriculture, they realized that it might be a good idea to develop the ocean front into a resort. The Collins family were joined by several others, including Carl Fisher. Yet again, the story includes the massive removal of mangrove stands, channeling shallow areas into navigable canals, and fixing the borders of the islands, which had for thousands of years been much less permanent. Prior to incorporation, the Miami Beach Improvement Company was founded in 1912, and the first bridge, today replaced by the Venetian Causeway, was built in the next year by Collins. Miami Beach was promoted as the latest and greatest Florida resort destination after St. Augustine and Palm Beach. Fisher was the main promoter in the 1920s, and it was at this time when larger numbers of wealthy Americans had winter homes built on land that was, only months before, sand at the bottom of Biscayne Bay. Mechanical dredging built Miami Beach as well as the rest of Miami's Atlantic shore. Miami Beach's most significant growth occurred during the Great Depression, something that happened in almost no other cities in the U.S. It was at this time that the famous Art Deco hotels were built. Indeed, there were over 25 hotels constructed between 1935 and 41 when the war finally slowed development. After the war, development sped up significantly, especially considering that the new hotels that were being built, like the iconic Fontainebleau, were now much more like full-service resorts. With the success of television and its ability to have live broadcasts, Miami Beach took its place next to New York City and Hollywood as an important location for shows, especially of the variety type. During the 1950s and 60s, it became the home to many television variety shows, including The Dick Clark Show, The Jackie Gleason Show, and The Ed Sullivan Show. Indeed, one of the times the Beatles performed on Sullivan's show was in Miami Beach. Also, from 1960 to 1971, the area hosted the annual Miss USA and Miss Universe pageants. Arthur Godfrey also hosted shows for Miami Beach and Bal Harbor. 16 miles of white sand beaches and bright blue water. 120,000 people living on the glittering edge of one of the largest and most cosmopolitan metro areas in the U.S. These beaches have been one of America's preeminent resorts for almost a century, second only to the Walt Disney World area when it comes to Florida tourism. Collectively, they have a rich history as a trend-setting center of arts, culture, and nightlife, from the world-famous nightclubs of the 1950s through to the rich cultural life of today. They're a major international entertainment and cultural destination, with entertainment, production, and arts communities that continue to grow stronger and more varied. Thank you once again for watching one of my videos. I really appreciate it. If you wouldn't mind, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I've got many interesting topics planned for future videos. Stingray Tom's Florida, traveling through time around the Sunshine State.